You've come this far. You need my brother or not?
Just do it, man.
$19.10 because our fraternity was founded in 1910. Go get your money. Come on, boy, go get your money.
Hi, Daniel Villarreal with Queerty.com here at the South by Southwest Film Festival. We're talking with the director of Brotherhood, Will Cannon, about some of the many issues this film faces. Hey, thanks for coming, Will.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious, did you feel that the film was going to end up developing in this weird sort of horror, comedy, and satire sort of way?
I think those are genres that sort of all kind of influenced the movie, but there were just sort of influences that kind of seeped in, and I think you know, it's just came from movies that we liked and things the kind of movies that we want to see. I thought it was interesting to take somebody and say, okay, you know, if you told this guy at the beginning of the night he was going to end up at this place, you know, he would say, "There's no way I would ever do that. I will not go to this place. I will not do these things that you're telling me I will do." But it's sort of over the course of an evening, you see him take sort of one step, and then another step, and another step. And these guys, it's about compromise, and these characters are sort of compromising themselves, and all of a sudden, you know, it's one step, it's two steps, and all of a sudden, you know, there's 10 steps, you know, and you're looking up saying, how did I get here, you know? And I think that was one of the things that was really interesting to it about us was, you know, watching these characters, you know, compromise themselves, and then ultimately try to take a step or try to get back and have some sort of redemption.
You have for me, Ted. We're gonna hang in there for you, all right? Oh God. Oh, fuck. What the fuck are you doing? You want me to call an ambulance? Where the fuck have you been? We said no hospitals. Where do ambulances go? Go get some more towels. Answer me. Where the fuck do ambulances go, Adam? To the fucking hospital! Alright? Okay, we're not taking you to the hospital because we're not letting you go to jail, okay? Help is on the way, alright? You hang in there for me.
It's funny, I think your movie is like it's a real interesting statement on like race and kind of hypermasculinity and privilege. And I think it did a really good job of kind of turning over like unexpected events. It also seems to like implicate the audience and making us like wonder, are they going to get out of it, you know? I think at any moment in this film, it could have really crumbled into stereotype and kind of dumb cliche about what we always hear about these groups, but it ended up keeping it really interesting and fresh.
We didn't want to do a 60 minutes, you know, investigative expose of fraternities. You know what I mean? That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to tell a story that was first and foremost entertaining.
Right.
And as you're building that, okay, then there's certain things that, you know, that are part of the world that you can get in. You can, you know, that become part of the story. But the, you know, the like a homophobic kind of aspect to it, it wasn't, you know. We thought about it at one point and said, okay, what if we make one of the characters is gay, or maybe two guys are gay, or, you know, we sort of like looked at those things and we just felt like we don't want this to be a message. You know what I mean? It was just sort of like we didn't, and also too, we didn't want to try to jam anything into it that wasn't organic.
Right. They hit on misogyny. They kind of hit a bit on the racist idea, but they were these individual characters. It wasn't sort of an ideology of a fraternity. But, you know, there was no homophobia in it. And I think that's always sort of like the easy low-hanging fruit that every fraternity environment or fraternity narrative or fraternity fiction goes to. And I think the lack of it, I would argue, is what kind of made this more unique, because it did deal with masculinity, but it didn't, you know, it never touched on what you assume in most hyper-masculine cultures is sort of, you know, to attack homosexuality, to attack femininity. And it just never did that.
Stories about, you know, a kid is involved in an accident, and these guys are making decisions that are going to affect whether he lives or dies, you know. And I think that's ultimately what the audience is rooting for. They're rooting for him to survive, you know, to live, and so they're willing to go along the ride for some of these things, and maybe we feel implicit in them because some of them are fun to watch or interesting to watch. But I think ultimately the thing that people are going along with is wanting this character to get help.